The GMK 3055 is equipped with an EKS 5 light rated capacity indicator. This provides the operator with information to enable operation within the design parameters. The display is located on the right side of the center console in the superstructure cab. Warning: the RCI is only an operational aid and does not replace sound operator judgment or experience. The responsibility for safe operation always remains with the crane operator. The system uses sensors to monitor boom length, boom angle, rated load, and slewing angle, from which the operational limits are calculated. On system start via the ignition switch, a self-test program will run to test the RCI component. You will then see the crane model, software version, and version step shown on the display. The display will then configure automatically depending on the expired time since it was last used. If less than 48 hours, the last entered reeving and RCI operating codes are loaded as shown. If these still correspond to the crane's current operating configuration, you can press the enter buttons for reeving and RCI operating codes. This will remove the signal points after the entries to accept the reeving and RCI operating codes. The pre-warning lamp, shutdown warning lamp, and error button LEDs will then go out to make the RCI ready for crane operation. If the displayed reeving or RCI operating code does not correspond to the current operating configuration, you must enter the reeving or RCI operating code input modes to re-enter the required values. The reeving and RCI operating code information can be found in the load chart manual supplied with the crane. The RCI operating code is shown at the bottom of each load chart. You must fully understand the load chart manual and the conditions of use prior to operating the crane. Pressing the reeving input button will display the maximum load capacity for 3 seconds if the symbols flash to indicate load capacity reduction caused by insufficient reeving. To enter reeving input mode, press F1 and then press the reeving input button. The value will now flash. Now press the required reeving on the keypad and press the enter button. Now press the reeving input button to accept the entry and remove the signal point. An alternative method is to press F1 and then the reeving input button. The value will now flash. Now repeatedly press the reeving input button to select the required reeving. Now press the enter button and then press the reeving input button to accept the entry and remove the signal point. To enter the RCI operating code input mode, press F1 and then press the RCI operating code input button. The value will now flash. Now press the required operating code on the keypad and press the enter button. Now press the RCI operating code input button to accept the entry and remove the signal point. An alternative method is to press F1 and then press the RCI operating code input button. The value will now flash. Now repeatedly press the operating code input button to select the required RCI operating code. Now press the Enter button and then press the RCI operating code input button to accept the entry and remove the signal point. If the RCI has not been used for more than 48 hours, it will then default to an active reeving input mode requiring current configuration settings of first reeving, then RCI operating code inputs. While in RCI operating code input mode, the available outrigger spans can be selected by repeatedly pressing the outrigger span input button. Integrated LEDs show the selected span positions. The available counterweights for the selected outrigger spans can be selected by repeatedly pressing the counterweight input button, with the selected weight being shown in the display field. Input button and display field for the offset angle of the manually offset lattice extension jib. The button has no function if a hydraulic power tilt lattice extension jib is installed. Both lattice extension jib types are additional equipment options. Input button and display field for the length of the lattice extension jib. Function button F2. This is pressed in conjunction with numeric button 1 to carry out a lamp test on the display. Now shown are display fields for maximum permissible load, current load, radius, boom angle, and boom length. Current load utilization display. The LEDs will light up to indicate the percentage of permissible load. Green 0 to 90%, yellow 90 to 100%, red greater than 100%. The CE button is used to cancel the buzzer and acknowledge an error message. RCI pre-warning lamp. The lamp will light up at 90% or more of the permissible load. An intermittent warning buzzer will also be heard. RCI shutdown warning lamp. The lamp will light up if approximately 100% of the maximum permissible load has been reached, or an error has occurred. A continuous audible warning buzzer will also be heard. All crane functions that could affect the safety of the crane are now shut down. The LEDs will light up to indicate which hoist is active. Flashing LEDs on the error button indicate detected errors. Repeatedly pressing the button will cycle all error codes that may exist. The 4-digit error code comprises 3 different numbers. From left to right, our example shows 1 as the error group, 17 as the component, 1 as the type of error. You can acknowledge an error by pressing the CE button. Information to determine the cause of an error can be found in section 14 of the operator's manual. By using the Group 1 error tables, we can find error 1, 17, 1. To determine the cause and possible remedy, If a repair is required, you should write down the error message and then contact your supervisor. Now shown is a telescope status error between the RCI and EKS. If necessary, reset the telescope status in EKS, or if the RCI length status is incorrect, press the F3 and CE buttons to accept the EKS telescope status. The RCI and hoist limit switch override key is for emergency use only. It is forbidden to use it for any lifting operation. Any use of the key will display an error code. Operational information can be shown on the information and error display with the respective buttons for error codes, current utilization, piston side pressure for sensor A, piston side pressure for sensor B, rod side pressure, current slewing angle, current overall height, current radius, and main boom length. Operating tip: during operational breaks, if you leave the ignition on and start and stop the engine with the constant speed rocker switch, you will retain all RCI values. It should be noted that weight and length can be displayed as metric or imperial values.